Rising from the ashes of the Yardbirds and forever altering the course of rock and roll and the pantheon of blues-based guitar playing, Led Zeppelin is perhaps one of the most legendary bands of all time. But how did these four unassuming Brits make folk songs about the Lord of the Rings cool and make blues hit so hard? This is Watch Mojo's The Story and the Songs. I'm your curator, Eric Cohen, and this is the musical journey of Led Zeppelin. But before we get over the hills and far away, remember, we want to hear from you. So don't forget to share some sweet Zepp knowledge or gift us with your own personal top 10 Zeppelin list. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. All right, we have a whole lot of ground to cover, so let's ramble on with part one, the story.
Formed in London, England in 1968, Led Zeppelin was a rock band comprised of vocalist Robert Plant, guitarist Jimmy Page, bassist John Paul Jones, and drummer John Bonham. The band's self-titled debut album came in 1969 during their first North American tour. With a unique brand of heavy metal fused with blues, rock, and folk, that record's commercial success quickly led to more touring.
The name Led Zeppelin is often claimed to have come from a recording session featuring Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones, Jeff Beck, and The Who's John Entwistle and Keith Moon. Apparently Keith Moon said that the lineup would go down like a lead balloon, and Jimmy Page was inspired.
Later that year, their sophomore effort Led Zeppelin II was released to much critical and commercial acclaim. Often considered one of the original albums of heavy metal, it contained notable tracks such as Heartbreaker and Whole Lotta Love. Their third album, Led Zeppelin III, was a bit of a departure, with its more acoustic and mature sound. Though less commercially successful, the 1970 record spawned two Led Zeppelin concert staples, Since I've Been Loving You and Immigrant Song. Going against Led Zeppelin's philosophy that their albums are listened to as a whole, Atlantic Records released Immigrant Song as a single without the group's consent.
For one show only, the group was known as The Knobs because of a complaint lodged by one of the members of the Zeppelin family.
When not busy recording, Led Zeppelin was usually on the road. Their live shows were the stuff of legend due to their length and the level of experimentation the band put into their performances. Their offstage behavior became legendary as well, with rumors spreading of such stories as the Shark episode, which allegedly involved sexual acts with a fish. The group also began dressing in flamboyant clothing, traveling in a private jet, and supposedly trashing many hotel rooms while on tour. In short, they were now a bona fide rock band.
If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed there.
Led Zeppelin's early successes were nothing compared to what the 1970s had in store. Though officially untitled, their fourth album is usually referred to as Led Zeppelin IV. This 1971 record became one of the best-selling albums in history, and its most famous track, Stairway to Heaven, became and remains extremely popular on rock radio.
The Gibson EDS 1275, or double neck guitar, was out of production when Jimmy Page requested one for stage use during Stairway to Heaven. The instrument was custom made by the company, and the attention that Jimmy Page brought to it led the company to put it back into production in the mid-70s.
1973 saw the release of Houses of the Holy, Led Zeppelin's first record of purely original material. The chart-topping album also led to record-breaking attendance for the following North American tour. The band then started their own label, Swan Song, and released their first record on that label in 1975. The hugely successful double album, Physical Graffiti, led to an equally successful North American tour, including 5 sold-out dates at London's Earls Court Arena. The 1976 album Presence was released just months after the band was forced to cancel a world tour due to a serious car accident involving Robert Plant. The tracks on that album were guitar-driven, and although Led Zeppelin was at the height of their popularity at this time, the record did not sell as well as their previous efforts. That same year, Led Zeppelin released the concert movie The Song Remains the Same, with footage captured from their 1973 Madison Square Garden shows. Their July 1977 Oakland show would be Led Zeppelin's last U.S. appearance, as the rest of the tour was canceled due to the death of Plant's son. Though critical reaction for 1979's In Through the Outdoor was mixed, the record hit number 1.
Ooh, well, just got in a time of day. I found my girl who's gone away. She took the Greyhound and the general store.
The album would also be Led Zeppelin's last before the accidental death of drummer John Bonham in October 1980.
We have a correction. As many viewers have pointed out, John Bonham passed away in September rather than October of 1980. His ashes were interned in October of that year in Worcestershire, West Midlands, England.
The band officially broke up in December of that year after confirming they would not continue as Led Zeppelin without Bonham.
Commenter Rapaladude says, "Such a simple action could have saved Bonham. I shed a tear every so often at the fact that I'll never see my favorite band in person. You will forever live on in our ears for all of eternity." John Bonham, as a drummer, John Bonham.
After the breakup, Led Zeppelin's surviving members continued their musical careers, at times coming back together to perform. Reunion reports surfaced on and off for years, culminating in a media frenzy when Page, Plant, and Jones performed with Bonham's son Jason at a 2007 tribute concert for the late founder and president of Atlantic Records. However, the trio never managed to find any subsequent projects that they felt did Led Zeppelin justice.
Jimmy Page didn't want to be a rock star. He was more interested in doing biological research, at least when he was 13.
Time and time again, Led Zeppelin has been named one of music's most influential bands for their innovative sound and unmatched style. With over 200 million albums sold and multiple accolades, their musical legacy is one that's bound to last.
Wouldn't you love to have been a fly on the wall for some of that? There's some stories, though, that you couldn't share in mixed company. Be a great way to meet the folks in HR, though. All right, we're going to get the lead out. We're going to do the impossible and rank Led Zeppelin's finest. We're going to bring it on home with part 2, the songs.
Number 10, Since I've Been Loving You.
Filtration says you cannot name only 10 top Led Zeppelin songs. I'd have to agree.
Featuring an incredible solo by Jimmy Page, this blues rock number off Led Zeppelin 3 also features John Paul Jones on the Hammond organ.
I've been working from 7.
Since it allowed room for on-the-spot creativity and experimentation, Since I've Been Loving You was often played in concert.
Oh, baby, since I've been loving you.
The band used it not only to show off their musical talents, but also to express their appreciation for the blues.
Oh, my tears, they fell like rain. Don't you see them falling?
Number 9, Over the Hills and Far Away.
Hey, lady, you got the love I need.
Mixing folk rock and hard rock, this track from Houses of the Holy had Page playing acoustic and electric guitar alongside Robert Plant's characteristic vocals. But what really makes Over the Hills and Far Away stand out is how well John Bonham's drums and John Paul Jones' bass work together. Though it only charted within the Billboard Hot 100's top 60, The single allowed the members to play with its lyrics and musical parts during live performances.
Here's something I didn't know. The Lost Baldwin brother? John Paul Jones's offstage name? John Richard Baldwin.
Number 8, Dazed and Confused.
Been dazed and confused, so long it's not true. I wanted a woman for you.
Though singer-songwriter Jake Holmes actually wrote Dazed and Confused, Page first contributed guitar work to a recording of the track when the Yardbirds covered it in the mid-60s.
I want you again. Yes, I do, I do, I do.
He then brought it to his Led Zeppelin bandmates, who added heavy metal, blues, and hard rock flavors to the psychedelic rock original.
Every day I work so hard, bringing home my heart and head. Trying to love you, baby, but you push me away.
With different lyrics, an altered melody, and Page's use of a bow to play his guitar, it quickly became one of their most performed pieces. Number 7, Going to California.
Spend my days with a woman and kind, smoke my stuff and drank all my wine.
Lacking Bonham's drums and the characteristic hard rock and heavy metal sound Led Zeppelin was becoming known for, Going to California sees the band going for a more folk rock vibe with great success.
The sea was red and the sky was gray. I wondered how tomorrow could ever follow today.
With Jones on mandolin, Page on acoustic guitar, and Plant singing his heart out, the song also showcases the band's softer side and incredible range.
Apparently Going to California was about Joni Mitchell. It turns out Robert Plant had a little bit of a crush at that time.
Oh, my mama said that's the way it ought to stay. Oh.
Number 6, Ramble On.
Leaves are falling all around. Time I was on my way.
It may have been co-written by Page and Plant, but Ramble On is also a fine example of Jones and Bonham's musical chemistry. With lyrics inspired by The Lord of the Rings, Ramble On is a 4.5-minute number that fittingly mixes folk rock with hard rock.
Just in the darkest depths of Mordor, I met a girl so fair.
But it also proves that Page wasn't only a talented guitarist, but a talented producer as well. Number 5, Kashmir. Despite being 8.5 minutes long, this physical graffiti track found radio airplay and much critical praise. Inspired by Eastern music, Led Zeppelin skillfully blended hard rock, art rock, progressive rock, and symphonic rock to create one of the songs they're most proud of. With its famous chord progression and musical contributions from session players, Kashmir wasn't only a live staple, but also a band favorite.
AL says, Kashmir, number 5, watch No No. Watch No No? That's amazing. Watch No No.
Number 4, Black Dog.
Hey, mama said the way you move gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove.
With its unforgettable Jones-penned riff and unmatched energy, Black Dog is one of the band's most well-known tracks.
I will shine, burning red, dreams of you all through my head.
Alternating between a cappella vocals and musical sections, the top 20 hit was the perfect fusion of Led Zeppelin's hard rock and blues rock style. It also quickly made its way into the band's concert set lists. Number 3, Stairway to Heaven.
There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying the stairway to heaven.
Clocking in at just over 8 minutes long, this folk and hard rock number may be the band's most famous song.
Listen, if there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now. It's just a sprinkling for the May Queen.
Thanks to Page's complex guitar work and Plant's unique singing style, Stairway isn't only one of Led Zeppelin's finest songs, but also one of the greatest songs in rock and roll.
I know we wind down the road. Our shadows taller than our soul.
It wasn't even released as a single, but still, its haunting lyrics, memorable guitar solo, and multiple musical sections have left an immeasurable and all-encompassing influence on later artists.
Commenter Someone Somewhere says, if When the Levee Breaks is not included, I'm officially boycotting WatchMojo. Watch Mojo or watch No No.
And she's buying a stairway to heaven.
Number 2, When the Levee Breaks.
If it keeps on raining, levee's gonna break.
After Kansas Joe McCoy and Memphis Minnie wrote and recorded this blues tune in 1929, Led Zeppelin tried their hand at it in the early 1970s.
Got what it takes to make a monkey man leave his home.
The band's version of the track added hard rock to the mix through Bonham's deep drums, Page's guitar, and Plant's vocals and harmonica playing. The result was an effects-heavy number that's as subtle as it is complex, but also oh so Zeppelin.
Going down, going down, going down, going down.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
I'm gonna leave you. I curse the blues and then but I know that I love you so. Lonely, 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 lonely. Yes, you have. Hey, careful. Stop what you do. My baby, you drive me to ruin.
Number 1, Whole Lotta Love.
Gabriel Rockend says number 1 should be Hot Dog. Hot Dog. Number 1.
Though Whole Lotta Love is filled with a whole lot of guitar goodness, it's Page's blues-influenced power riffing during the intro that remains implanted in our brains.
You need cooling, woman, I ain't fooling.
Taken from their sophomore effort, the track became their first American top 5 hit.
I'm gonna give you my love. Gonna give you my love. Oh.
Thanks to Plant's wailing, Page's riffing, Bonham's drum solo, and Jones' timeless bass, this gold-certified track is undoubtedly one of the band's signature tunes and best songs.
Push, push, push.
Can't stand still, got a flaming heart, can't get my fill.
You knew that was going to be a tough one. What'd you think? Was it a heartbreaker? In all honesty, we knew that there was bound to be something that you loved that got left off the list. But with a band like Led Zeppelin that runs the gamut from Fool in the Rain to Dazed and Confused, it's going to happen. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you need a bit more Zeppelin and hard rock, check out some of our other lists, like Top 10 Bands to Listen to If You Like Led Zeppelin, Top 10 Bass Lines, Top 10 Guitar Albums, Top 10 Rock Drummers, Classic Rock Bands, or Frontmen in Rock. Before you get out on the tiles, let me ask you this. What's your favorite Jimmy Page riff, solo, or lick? Don't be afraid to get technical. We're all friends here. Thanks for being with us. I'm Eric Cohen. This is The Story and the Songs.
I found out what people mean by down and down.
Check out these other great clips from Watch Mojo and subscribe for new videos every day.
Started telling her friend she's gonna be a star. Now I don't know, but I've been told a big leg woman ain't got no soul.